out right now. Well, just yet, but soon shall be. Just waiting on Zatzi. And then we'll be getting straight back into the flow of things. So yes, welcome back. After a small internet outage, we should be all live and happy and raring to go. Pool timer will be coming imminently as Echo do need to continue pushing on forward here through their day, working on the very last boss of the entire expansion. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I was really hoping for another raid.
Me too.
Because this expansion has been very good, very interesting when it comes to the races.
Yeah, I liked it as well. Dragonflight, very cool, especially like for me as well as a mythic raider that wants to do mythic raiding but doesn't want to do like a lot of, you know, farming or like infinite like artifact power farm or all of that, and it's all gone.
Yeah.
In Dragonflight. Now there have been these silly grinds that we've seen the Racewell First players do with the renown, but that's something I don't bother with.
It's not
that important,
yeah.
so I'm like, I'm not doing that.
A lot of people who don't really keep, like who I used to play with, who don't really keep an eye on WoW anymore, they're just like, so what is Dragonflight even like? And I'm like, legit, if you're still playing, it's like one of the kindest expansions they've had in a long time. Yeah,
it really is.
So, yep, it's going to be an unfortunate end, but we're going to be blazing on ahead into the War Within. And the Dream Soul, what is it called? The World Soul Saga.
Yeah.
You were Lord
and it's still
aficionado?
a year. No, I'm not. Are you?
I know it all.
Do
Everything. I went
Just
to
like
art school for 4
everything.
years.
You know about art.
Yep. No,
Not only did you go 4 years of art school, also 4 years of lore school.
My law school is just watching novel videos. So
well, I mean, that's more than I do. So.
Oh, you should do. Novels videos are awesome.
Yeah.
Shout
I do
out.
watch Taliesin's and Avitel's videos once in a while.
Yeah.
When they're going over the lore.
They're nice people as well.
Yeah.
Very, very nice indeed.
It's interesting how, like, the reason why I watch their videos sometimes is because they're so passionate about it and they have all of these theories and it's like, oh, that's an interesting theory. Like, I don't know what the lore is about, but just their passion and them explaining it to me is like, yeah, I'm into this now.
You should be scared of some parts of the internet then, because they might be able to convince you. Mike might be able to convince you, actually. He says the world's going to end soon.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, he's handing out pamphlets and everything. It's just what it is. Of course, it's not just Nagura and I here. We have also been joined by the wonderful Mr. Jeeth over on the U.GG analysis desk. Welcome, my friend. Thank you very much for being with us.
Hello, sir. You're welcome.
Yeah, no. Well, you're going to be backing us up when we're coming up against some of the things that I have no idea about, and I've got to try and put on a brave face. But now you're here with the logs, I feel much more comfy.
Yep, I know everything.
Excellent. You also go to art school for 4 years?
No.
Ah, I see.
I went to real school.
Oh, I have no idea what that is.
Me neither.
What is a school, really? Yeah. As we're going into a pool right now, dragging us away from this doomed conversation and heading into another Faruk pool, which they really need to keep the pace up. Liquid are coming. Echo really needs to get fire in their bellies and really convert that into some amazing pools. So here we go, Bloodlust being popped. Let's see what we can make out of this.
Yeah, there it is. Now the first couple of overlaps not too scary, as we do have the frontals coming out that are mirrored in Mythic with those mirror images of the boss casting frontals, which can be baited, it looks like at least, on the closest person. So if you're really quick, you can turn them around so they don't go like straight through the raid possibly. But still very difficult to see where all of them are facing for the players, especially if it overlaps with other mechanics, like this Mythic mechanic here, for example, where you do have to group soak 3 of these soaks that then also drop a puddle afterwards. So you have to position themselves in the correct spot and then also soak them. And then of course we still have this mechanic that also happens in Heroic where more paddles spawn over time. So you want to watch out for that. And of course it basically is an enrage or a soft enrage or a hard enrage in this phase 1. If you take too long to push the boss, then these roots that you can see on the wall, if they catch fire from the puddles, then you'll wipe.
It's I love it when they do this, where the room shows, like there's a very easy visual way of seeing the enrage coming. You saw it on things like Teros, where he would just coat the room in crap. You would have seen it on Volcaros. Yeah. But obviously we didn't because it was Simon Fruit. But I'm sure like more other guilds that weren't like doing a billion splits probably saw that on Volcaros as an example on Mythic difficulty. Seen it on Denathrius as well in phase 1. Like those mechanics where like, guys, we are running out of room. You can visually see in the arena how close we are to wiping. It's always a nice thing to see.
And it also at the same time makes it more difficult the further you are in the fight because of just like limited space.
Of course,
right?
yeah.
So that's also just, serving 2 purposes, which is really cool.
So you can see here, they're going to be continue to push the boss. They're going to drag him into the goo here. And by dragging him in the goo, they're spawning this rift further away. This does damage to the group based on proximity, so the further we are, the better. You can already see how much damage is going on the group. But you've also got these wonderful snaking bullet hell lines coming across that also need to be dodged and baited, so they're doing a good job with that. And it looks like they have managed to get through this last nasty little overlap, assuming they don't die to the frontals.
One death there, but it is a shaman with an Ankh available, so the Ankh is being used.
I can't believe that just happened. That's unreal. We are pushing into the second phase, though. Well, the intermission, where they have only had one success so far.
Yeah, we'll see if they make it this time. They do have this weak aura, this private aura that they're using to assign their positions for soaking the orbs, which is very crucial because it's a lot of damage that you take from soaking these orbs. So you want to spread out the tanky classes as much as you can. So they're the ones that can pick them up. And you also want to spread out the healers and other players that have defensives they can use, for example, Aug Evokers with rescues and whatnot. Look at how much damage. Oh, there was an orb going through, wasn't it?
It felt like it, but it seems like they managed to survive. It was
one orb.
Oh, wow.
There's another.
That is rather unfortunate. Of course, these lines adding layers of complexity to this otherwise what you'd expect to be a relatively easy goalkeeping phase. They've had a lot of experience with it on Halondrus, keeping those orbs away from the boss. It's not something that they haven't done before in the past, but unfortunately struggling a little bit here. Jesse, what have you got for us?
Just a couple of interesting things happening under the hood. It's always the case that it's easier to see the broad strokes when it's live on the screen, and then you go down digging and you see some pretty cool plays. So while they're trying, even in phase 1 on this early progress, to get the most they can out of all of their classes. So as they're doing that first rift, we saw Tobo doing a nice little rescue on Luskanon, pulling him to safety so that Ken could continue to do his ramp, and then he gets rescued to the end where they need to be in order to run away from that rift. And then we have Ken gripping Miraz, who is of course baiting that rift all the way into the fire and gets gripped to safety so that he's far enough away. Just always interesting to see these little optimizations, these little plays in order to make the whole strategy come together.
Yeah, for sure. It's nice to see this sort of utility not being mandatory, but being very helpful. I think when it becomes mandatory on things like Razageth, as an example, like every priest you need to have X amount of evokers to help them.
Yeah.
That can kind of be a little bit like... Ugh. But on a fight like this, where in theory they could just leg it, maybe not Maraz actually, where he's placing it. It might be a little bit too far away for him to get into the position he needs to. But as an example for other people where it's just like, it'll be so much more efficient if someone could basically teleport me there.
The extra little thing happening there is that because, of course, normally Rescue would disrupt the casting that Ken is otherwise doing. Tobo has the extra burden. First, he puts Spatial Paradox on him, and then he rescues him, just truly carrying Ken through this fight so he can just happily cast Powered Radiance without worrying about his positioning, his movement, having to stop to cast or anything like that. Fully carried by the Augmentation Evoker.
Of course, Spatial Paradox being it's like a 2-minute cooldown, right?
It's where you 2-minute cooldown, you give someone a buff, and then both you and that target can cast while moving for several seconds.
Only on a healer, though.
Yeah.
I did want to, quick shout out to Celia Ken Liskanon, who 2 days ago, he was so sick that he was not able to play at all on T-Swift progression. He was having a fever and he was actually really sick. And then the next day, he played for 19 hours straight.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Yeah,
what a madman.
That's insane. Yeah.
I didn't even consider that for a second. Oh, well, I'm sure he's feeling better and better as the days go on.
Yeah, I'm sure that helped a lot, the 19 hours yesterday.
Well, I don't know about you, but when I'm
curing him.
When I'm ill, I love to spend 19 hours on the same thing. That's exactly what I need to feel better. Oh, dear. So, yes. If you are joining us just now, once again, we did have a small internet outage, but that seems to have all been done and dusted. I'm not sure what it was, just purely internet-based. So it is what it is. However, we seem to be all back and ready in the building, as we are going to continue our pulls onto Farak, really trying to push as much as we can into Phase 2, which we've only seen once. And that phase is quite a lengthy one, having to deal with, I believe, is it 3 waves of ads on Heroic difficulty at least? With the boss charging across the room, I think we have 3 of those. So it's once again a time-based phase. So no just pushing through it and hoping that we don't get the bad overlap. Nope, the boss is going to give you every overlap that he has available, unless maybe you have absolutely crazy damage, but that's not exactly going to be happening on Mythic. So let's hope that they can get through this nice and cleanly. Maintaining space in this phase is the key thing, right? It's just about keeping everything under control. One false step when it comes to placing some of these fires can cause dire consequences because of the way the fire spreads.
Yeah, and this is the soak mechanic that also drops the puddles that they're currently dealing with right now. This is where we lose a player here and there sometimes. But this time they did a really good job. surviving it, as we also get the blazes here staggered in a staggered fashion applied to the players, which makes it a little bit harder to deal with. But no other movement mechanic overlapping here, so they don't have to move with the blazes, which makes it much more difficult. They do get the rift now, so they all have to move away and make sure they also bait these balls, the spheres that are coming in. They're baited or snapshotted on the players' positions. So that's why they're moving really late here, making sure all of the sphere waves have been baited. And now we do see one death. Unfortunately, no res available. So they're going to have to try to get to this intermission without this player alive. It's a shaman. So not the most crucial player. It's not a healer or a tank.
Yeah, with Mini being down, of course, it will make a DPS check a little bit tighter, not only with the lacking of their own personal damage, but also the buffs that they're providing to 2 rogues, a warrior and a demon hunter without their enhancement shaman. I can imagine the cries of anguish were probably stronger from them than they were from Mini themselves. But we will see exactly how this pans out. It's still worth keeping going, even if we're not going to make the check, just because we are far from doing anything perfect just yet in this phase. We have had a couple of pulls where it's been absolutely fine, of course, but that is more of the exception rather than the rule at the moment. That's not the other way around. That's more of the exception than the standard. Whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. It happens rarely.
And there was also the shaman that died in the tank group, unfortunately. You know that there's 2 wind fears that we have. One is a little bit more important than the other one,
That
right?
is true.
Because one is in a tank group and the other one not, so...
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Boss still a little bit high for this point in the fight. We can't go too much further before the fire encroaches upon us.
Ooh,
Oh, that's already...
Burn? No?
How does that not burn it?
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I want Echo to do well, but that's kind of nonsense,
It
yeah?
does look like it's on it.
Like, what the hell? Okay, sure. These soaks are not normally something that they
Ooh,
have
this
to
is
deal
it.
with, and
Okay.
yeah, there we go. Oh, it did actually
Oh, I
spread.
think it did burn, yeah.
There we go. I was going to say.
You were right. Good job.
I'm not happy
Thank
that I'm
you.
right, but I am
Thanks,
right.
Alex.
You actually just cursed them and then they died.
I'm not the one who put the fire there, yeah?
Wizard is watching right now. It's like, oh, he is right. It should burn. And he pressed the button.
The burn the tree button. I've already pushed that once before, and that didn't go well. Okay. Oh, dear. Well, a little unfortunate there, though. These small sort of mistakes are going to be happening for sure. But another thing that's happening is that we need your balls, chat. The balls of destiny giveaways
Do
are
they have any
underway.
left?
I'm not sure. We've been harvesting
morning,
balls like a
did
madman.
the morning shift
They,
do balls of
they
destiny?
emptied themselves twice.
Oh,
to fill
twice
balls this
already?
morning. So
Ooh,
this'll
then I'm not
be-
sure if there's any left at this point. This
Yeah.
might be a very...
Oh my god, production. We don't need more of this. Yeah.
It's like whenever the balls of destiny's going on, production just tells us like relate the jokes into our ears and we can't repeat them because,
No,
you know,
it's too
that's
filthy.
horrible.
Too filthy.
It's horrible.
Well, not filthy enough. One of the two. It wasn't that bad. So yes, your
Don't
channel
protect
points.
them, it was horrible.
Fair enough. There you go. You heard it here first, folks. Get your channel points in. If we reach the 4 million goal, then we will be doing a giveaway of lots of wonderful things to be sending your way, from Blizzard goodies to Warcraft Rumble packs.
Oh, we lost a healer. That's what I talked about earlier.
Oh, is this about the healer pre-pull?
Yeah, Velo died right on pull.
Ooh. Oh dear.
Oof.
That's not good. But yes, do get those channel points redeemed. Might as well. They're not doing anything else. It's all free. Just send them in. Redeem your balls.
And we still have some balls left to go through for the giveaways. I personally drew a mount and a big percentage of the merch as well. So I got the really big giveaways. What
I've
did you
drawn
draw?
2 mounts.
2 mounts?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I've only done one draw.
What did you get?
I think I got a Ursoc pet, which is cute.
Nah, that's horrible.
No, it's cute. I liked it anyway. I think they're awesome. Each to their own, at least. As we are going to be dancing around here with the rift, spewing forth its own orbs towards the group that they need to dodge. As each of the players here also dodging their own blaze lines. We have lost players to this in the past. Some good baiting there, baiting those lines away. Those ads, you do not have a lot of time when facing them. You need to very quickly identify where they are, and then they will fixate on the closest player maybe a second after they spawn, giving you opportunity to maybe move it away from high traffic areas. You can see them doing their very best to keep it away from the raid, especially during the blaze lines. It's already hard enough dodging them on top of those tank frontals that are going across the raid. But so far, so good as we keep going here. As just had a battle res unfortunately used on the pull because apparently the pull timer is too difficult to handle.
We did lose another hunter here.
Yeah, that's
Needs
not
no
the
battle
best. Yeah, we're quite far through the phase though, so we still will continue our efforts. It's always still worth learning how, well, just re-emphasizing this sort of movement that they're doing.
Would be nice, a little bit of a task for Jesse maybe to see what the reason is some people die in phase 1. Like, is of course Velo died and pull to aggro, but is there something else that is like maybe the number one reason why people die? Is it certain damage or is it blaze?
The number one reason people die is that last combination before the second rift where you have both the laser frontals and the blaze at the same time, and it's very difficult to avoid getting clipped by 2 things.
Ah, okay, so
that's what took Swag out.
I see. So it's basically the frontal, like the mirror image frontal plus blaze plus the line. Yeah, okay.
There's a whole lot going on, but we are heading into the intermission here, taking that gateway to nullify some of that knockback as they quickly spread out in order to do these soaks. That very useful weak aura giving them a slight indication as to where they need to be soaking within the room as they have to stop these orbs from reaching the boss. Any orb that does reach the boss will do an unholy amount of damage that will be unleashed upon them, something that they really do need to avoid the best they possibly can, while of course themselves taking so much damage, not only from soaking the orbs, but the blaze lines at the same time, as well as just the general ticking damage of the boss. That purple line going straight through there. Of course, we were shy one person, so that particular team that Swag would otherwise have been in was certainly struggling, as unfortunately, it's good that to see the intermission, because we haven't for a little while, but we were hoping for, of course...
We've anked for it, I think.
Yeah.
Because Click started and anked just to see the intermission, so...
Oh yeah, no, they want to keep these pools going for as long as possible. It's all practice, it's all things that they need to refine. If we, you know, want to get the world first, if Echo want to beat Liquid, they need to do everything in their power to make every pool count, because time is really not on their side, especially not after yesterday. We can see what's happening here with the orb soaks. You can see it on the right-hand side of your screen right now. Those orbs just unfortunately popping through there. A small little gap in there. Unfortunate. Small little gap in their defenses. Here we go, though. You can see the Balls of Destiny lined at the bottom.
Yep.
1.7 mil. Is that all you got? Useless.
Yeah, come on, Chad. Like, I heard you guys had 2 Balls of Destinies already today, so understand that you might have a hard time getting all of your balls accumulated for this goal here, but I'm sure there's still some left. I think we can do better than this.
Redeem your balls. We need them. Someone's just saying I'm tapped. I'm on fumes. Oh, well, if you do have your Balls of Destiny, if you do have any channel points to give in any to the Balls of Destiny, then make sure you do. Send it in. Like
everyone's balls. All of them.
You can't be greedy now. Send us in your channel points. We need them. Not really sure what for.
I love awkward silences. I live for them.
It. Yeah, for sure. Just at the end of a sentence, and then you just kind of...
Yeah, it's great. It's amazing. Especially when you talk about things like this.
Yeah. Let's try one now.
What did you want to say, Jesse?
Oh, I was just offering to interrupt the awkward silence if you want. I do have some various log things that if we want to look at, we can.
Yeah,
I pulled up the damage taken in an intermission that things go well in. This is the intermission that went into phase 3, and as you can see, all of the damage is almost exclusively raid damage. Corrupt, Burning Scales, Blaze, these are things that are happening to everyone, with the Flame Orbs and Shadow Orbs being spike damage on individuals as they soak more and more orbs. This is what happens when it goes wrong. These Shadow Flame Eruptions doing 600k hits to everyone when they go off, and that's just going to be the instant raid wiping thing that maybe a few people live through. But if people are generally ticking down and back up, that's the expected damage. The orb is the big hit that just wipes everyone immediately.
You're not going to use a CD to get through that, unfortunately, as they are jumping into another pool. Excellent stuff. Do keep redeeming your channel points, though, as we have got some lovely giveaways for you guys, so get them in. I like just moving the machine around, if I'm honest.
Yeah. You can mix it up a little bit if you want.
Every time I've done it, it's just gone everywhere, though.
Oh.
I'm just not to be trusted with anything. First thing I said when the internet went out, I was just like, I was sat here, yeah. There's literally nothing I could have done to touch the internet. That's all I'm saying. It was not my fault.
Alright, let's see if they manage to do phase 1 this time without losing anyone until the intermission. That'd be great, of course. Not only for the damage check, but also for making sure they soak all of the balls.
Yeah, it's a lot. I don't know. It's difficult to say because there are some points in this phase right now that are kind of vibing, but they're just these small spikes of difficulty with these overlaps, with the blazes, with the frontal mirror images that we all need to deal with at the same time, where we're just unfortunately losing 1 or 2 people very frequently, something that they really want to try and avoid, something that maybe they just need to really try and focus on a little bit more. Right there wasn't even any lines and we just lost a person, it was just the blaze lines.
Yeah, it's blaze with movement.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily the person's fault who died, like it was who died.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, maybe one of the blaze lines there did look like it was moving till quite late into that. So obviously something that we really want to try and avoid here. But hey ho, it has happened. That's what we got Battle Reses for. As we're going to continue on into the later stages of this phase. Have got a couple nasty overlaps on the way, especially coming out of this next rift. This being
this
one
one
of them.
is difficult, yeah, because you do have the blaze line. So here, the most difficult thing about this is that with the blaze lines, you don't necessarily want to move, especially not last second, because you could be griefing someone else. But you also have the frontals from these mirror images, right? And you don't immediately, like, it's hard for a player to immediately determine where they're going. So if you have a blaze line, especially because they get applied to the players in a staggered fashion, if you get the blaze and then afterwards you see, oh, I'm standing in a frontal of a mirror image, then you want to move, but you want to move on the line so you don't move your blaze around, but that might be difficult, right? To still dodge those frontals. So sometimes you might make a decision, okay, you know what, I'm not going to move. I know I'm going to get hit by a frontal, and I'm just going to try to survive it with a defensive. And if not, then at least I'm the only one that dies. But if I move last second to dodge the frontal, then I might kill a couple of other players.
For sure.
And that's why we see some people die here. But they make it into the intermission here with 2 people dead, though. Unfortunately, 3 people dead. One of them being a healer.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very difficult to get through this here.
Yeah, I've had Ken down for the last stages of phase 1. They're making this initial entry into the phase a very difficult thing to try and stabilize from. So unfortunately, although it was good that we got through phase 1, we still did it in a very messy fashion. 2 deaths. Once again, so need to clean this up a little bit here, Echo, because otherwise time is running out.
It's not even just a healer, it is the healer who is blasting the intermission the most. That's exactly the kind of damage pattern that this priest excels at, right? Just putting atonements on everyone and pumping damage for this window of time.
For sure.
He's doing about 500,000 HPS during the duration of that. And they're sending a lot of healer cooldowns there. They're sending almost everything, in fact. They're also using, for example, the Divine Hymn to boost healing on everyone. But without the Discipline Priest getting through that, it's going to be pretty much impossible.
Yeah, it's certainly rough. Like, obviously a disc ramp being like such a useful tool for the longest of times as well. Really relying on that CD to get people through these really rough overlaps, because the incoming damage on the raid, especially during that intermission, is pretty diabolical.
When it comes to the comp that we're running, Liquid was, as far as we know from the last build they did, running a very similar comp, right? Does any of you know? Looking at you.
Ooh, Liquid's comp. No.
Things I could know, but I don't offhand. I don't want to lie to chat.
Oh,
so
okay.
I was watching it before
know
the
it's very
stream and I can't
similar.
remember it.
Yeah.
They
me
might be
too.
running with 3 hunters again. They obviously ran that to great effect on Tindril.
But at least there's nothing like super obvious. Like,
I don't
that
think
is
it's just
different,
like,
right?
they're running a Brewmaster and a
Yeah,
Warrior tank.
yeah.
I don't think there's anything like that.
Okay.
or
yeah.
5 healing or anything strange like that. No.
No,
It's a very similar comp.
yeah,
Yeah.
there would be small DPS changes. Well, I imagine a Brewmaster would be pretty nice for some of the mobility needed for dropping off these puddles.
I also wouldn't be surprised to see a 5 heal attempted either by Liquid or Echo at some point.
Yeah.
Because it is a very easy answer if you think you can still get through the DPS check in phase 1, which I think they easily can.
I think so as well, yeah.
I was thinking that for Tindril, actually.
I wasn't for Tindril, really.
Because there were some points where it was like, if they just had... Like, obviously not, you wouldn't necessarily bring a Shaman, but like a Spirit Link here would be crazy.
Yeah.
There's
I was
some
thinking the
points looking
opposite.
around-
I was like, dude, they should drop a healer.
It's just avoid. If you kill the boss in phase 1, then you never have to deal with
Yeah.
the seeds. Oh man.
But it's also possible that Liquid maybe did change their comp, right? We wouldn't know if
Not
they
yet.
figured out something especially for phase 2, maybe with the at phase. Like maybe they were thinking, oh, we need another grip or another knock or another this. Maybe they changed something there, and we wouldn't know, of course, because they did go dark. As soon as they are going to start raiding again, we will know
Yes.
If there's a bigger comp change.
And
It
how
is,
far they got. You know.
7:30 still for them, so still a little while for them to start raiding.
Ooh, some players going very low there as a couple of those frontals were pretty nastily placed. We do have a Battle Reds available that has indeed gone out. I think it might have been Thana that went down there.
Yes.
But we are fortunate enough to get our healers back up. Of course, we don't want to lose anyone, but healers probably being one of the most important people for the intermission to even be remotely possible. Fire encroaching in. Let's see if we can dodge these lines. No frontal cones during this overlap, but still missing Kush there. It's really quite unfortunate. It felt like that was going quite well as well. So we will be going in at least with 1 DPS down, 2 DPS now. So unfortunately, Click seems to have gone down as well. Unfortunate stuff, as it seems there's a little bit of messy play. Felt like it was a little bit cleaner, maybe a little bit of focus lost when we lost the internet. Need to do everything in our power to regain it, but we are going to be going back into this intermission. 3 people dead, so unlikely to be able to get much done, but let's see how well they can do. Some of the gateway shenanigans a little bit difficult there.
Sometimes they really just need the pressure, you know? Because when they know there's 3 people dead, then everyone has to step up. And then sometimes they just magically do it anyway. So we'll see as 1 orb goes through. And I see an angel pop up already, so I think this might be it.
Yeah, it's a tall order to do it with 20 people, let alone. It's possible to do it with fewer people, I believe, at least. I don't think it's impossible. You don't get like a Voln from soaking, in theory.
Well, you do actually, yeah.
Oh, do you do?
Yeah, when you have the debuff that enshrouds you in either shadow or flame, it makes you obviously take 800% more from the opposite, but you take an additional stacking damage debuff for your own color as well.
Of course.
To try to make sure that everyone's soaking equally instead of having just someone do it all.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's not an intense Voln. You can still sack a lot, but if you went further into the phase, it would start to hurt pretty badly.
Well, there's many waves to do it. Honestly, feels like once they can get through the first 2, they get into a little bit of a flow state as well, where they can kind of, it feels like everything's a bit more under control. It just feels like cementing yourself and kind of establishing yourself in your new position is the thing that you need to kind of, that is what they're struggling to do right now.
So I can tell you that Swag, for example, soaked 3 flame orbs. The first hit for 290,000, and then it was 358,000, and then the third was 424,000. So it ramps up pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's about 50k per, like in addition, 50, 60 odd K. Quite a substantial jump, actually. So there you go. I was wrong. A little bit of a Voln going on.
That's what I'm here for, to make you look bad.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I appreciate that.
I don't think you need to do it.
I think we can do that ourselves.
Oh man.
Speaking of making ourselves look bad, Balls of Destiny.
Oh, for sure.
They are about to.
What a segue. We're starting to devolve here, aren't we? Things have gone horribly wrong.
I don't know what that meant.
Oh, we do have ball. We do need your balls, even. I'm out. What day is it? It's day 9, and I can barely speak.
Wasn't you earlier that said, is it Thursday? And I'm like, maybe?
I don't even know what day it is.
Anyway, they're back. And then again, they're pulling really quickly.
Yeah.
Which is a good sign.
They know what they need to do, yeah?
It's not necessarily a good sign. It just means that they're wiping to things that they can learn by doing rather than strategic things, right?
It mainly like personal mistakes, right? Just small things.
It's good for us for a viewing experience. Maybe not so good for them, but yeah.
But of course, we're kind of looking for them to see some new stuff so that they can actually get a little bit further in this fight. Because right now, obviously, only 1 phase 2 pull. It is worth emphasizing that we are quite low on the overall pull count. I think pull 41 down there in the bottom left, at least is what was being advertised. Not sure if it's slightly desynced from the leaderboard on the right. So, you know, we are still quite early in the lifespan of an end boss. But I was speaking to Kush briefly, and he was like, this first phase, it really isn't that difficult.
Yeah.
In terms of like what we need to do. There are some spicy overlaps, but overall it's not that hard.
Maybe that's just a rogue thing to say though. You know, you see like other classes are not as mobile and don't have as many defensives, and they're like, this is so hard. And of course, like, what do you mean?
Just cloak forehead.
Yeah, just cloak.
You didn't see the grip coming in here? There we go.
Oh,
that rescue coming into play. Very nice.
Beautiful.
I do like Evoker. It's very fun to play.
I do not like them.
And it's one of your ults, isn't it?
Yes.
Evoker.
Hate them.
What do you hate about them?
I hate that they exist.
Is that one more spot taken away from our Boomy? Is that it?
No, I just don't like the concept of it. Without it being... Okay, so here's the thing, right? Evokers just... Like, if they were a proper role in the game, then I wouldn't mind them. Like, if they actually had a role. But they don't. There's no support role in the game. It doesn't exist. We have tanks, healers, and damage dealers.
There is
and they're
now.
considered... No, that's a lie. We don't have a support role. I mean, they are branded as supports, but we don't have a support role. Like, it's not an actual role. And
Right.
that's what's bothering me, you know?
Okay.
Otherwise, I wouldn't mind them.
So if they gave him additional symbol and sorted him differently on the frames, it would be okay?
If it would make sense that, like, if they have an extra spot in a plus or whatever, you know, like, it's like, oh, you have to invite a supporter, then it would make sense, and then I'd be okay with it, yes.
We're bleeding out on players here, unfortunately, as to be expected going into the intermission with 1 or 2 dead.
It's very dead. We had another healer dead.
Oh, it was healer down, was it?
Yeah.
There we go. So very, very difficult to do. Unfortunate there, but what is fortunate is that we're only 1 million channel points away from reaching our Balls of Destiny goal right now. Do get them in. Make sure you're redeeming your challenge points. I keep calling it that. Channel points to get us to that cap, as we have lots of fun things to be giving away, which is excellent news. So get them in, chat. Need to see those donations of balls of your channel points. Who came up with this idea? Oh, we have a graphic from production.
Nice, let's look at it.
Oh, there we go.
Beautiful.
Now this is
Swolderon.
awesome. We've got the new It's About Family.
Oh, yeah.
It's an absolutely awesome display, as well as the Swolderon display that we made during there. We've got some amazing stuff available for you guys. Just head over using our link echogg.ly/display. You'll be able to find that in the chat as well. 44% off, up to 44% off for these amazing displays. Does support us. You get some amazing metal posters at home. Very easy to set up. You can do them in under a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah, you showed us, didn't you?
yeah. I mean, I'm the display champion right now, still,
For sure.
I think, as far as I'm aware. No one has beaten my timer just yet.
Has everyone tried yet? Who hasn't done it? Have you done it, Jesse?
I did. I was about 90 seconds.
I took like 2 minutes.
Yeah, you were ridiculously slow. I also dropped one of the magnets.
What was I even doing?
I
During
don't
that
know.
2
How do
minutes?
you do that?
Like how did I
You
fail
paint a
so
picture
badly?
simultaneously.
Man,
Well, the most time is lost when you're trying to peel the sticker or the magnets off. Probably.
Yeah.
I think I was trying to peel off the wrong bit for ages. Yeah, I think once I got going,
This
it
is
was
the man I
alright.
raid with. He's peeling off the wrong bit.
I can't help it. I don't know what's going on. Oh, but even someone as stupid as I can put these things up, and they're very, very high quality, very easy to remove and place somewhere else in your home as well. Awesome stuff.
And speaking of awesome stuff, we are about to fill up that Balls of Destiny community goal as well, which means that we're going to be unlocking a giveaway for you guys in just a second. If you redeem more balls, you just have to give us your channel points.
Look at all those wonderful things, from transmog sets to pets to mounts. We got €80 discount codes for the merch store, as well as some Warcraft Rumble bundles.
Ooh, did we
Coming
draw
your
any
way.
of those already?
Yes, yes.
nice.
I've been with people who have.
All right,
As
cool.
I say,
cool.
I'm not really trusted with the machine itself. After my display on how to use displays, they were like, maybe not. Maybe your hand-eye coordination is not to be trusted. And rightfully so. At least we haven't got a giant wall made out of bottles this time. Oh, wow, you guys are flying through this.
Ooh.
300k left, 250.
Let's go.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
And while
like
this is
it.
happening, some people are asking what's going on with Liquid. And what really is going on? They're asleep. That's
Yep.
what's going on. They're asleep.
And for those, just I guess we'll give a little overview, because
Yeah.
of course for viewers tuning in for the first time today, as you can see on the right hand side, it says last known prog. Reason that we're saying that is, of course, about halfway through, well, at least towards the later stages of their day over in America, Liquid did indeed go dark. They decided to do some pulls off stream, as well as not have their logs in a publicly accessible way in order to get the data that we would otherwise have access to in terms of their best pull and their percentage and all that kind of stuff. So those sort of things are hidden right now, which is absolutely fair enough. I can see why they would do it from a competitive standpoint. And even if you do disagree with it, don't get angry at them. It's no good.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Echo would do the same thing, probably. So
they have done the same thing in the past in Castle Nathria. Yeah. They did a very, very similar job. So it is what it is. Whether or not we like it, it's something probably best left until after the race to have a little discussion about. As I say, don't give anyone any grief about it. Obviously, we're all wanting to see everyone's point of views, but hey-ho, it's not a perfect esport. It is what it is. So we will be finding out exactly how far they managed to get. Once they come back online, we should have all of that information when they start going and doing their pools slightly later today. Not sure when they're due to come up.
Yep.
But for now, we're going to be focusing on Echo's pools, as so far, not so good, as unfortunately we've already had to use a battle res.
Yes.
And probably an Ank as well. 2 deaths
I'm not
so
sure.
far.
Is this correct? Like, I didn't... maybe.
I think so. Yeah, you can. Yeah. So we've had 2 deaths, 1 battle res used.
Where's Kush? Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, it is correct. I always look for Kush's UI, like where is the battle res? And it's all the way top, on the top screen next to the raid frame, like in the middle of nowhere, just there.
Oh yeah, so it is. So that's the reason we got it. So you can see the battle res timer right now at the top of the screen, which isn't necessarily the easiest place to spot it. So we've got lots of useful information for you down the bottom left, giving you up-to-date information as to the boss HP, what phase we're in, when they pop Bloodlust, so you can see it's popped up 1 second, how many battle reses we've had available, as well as overall deaths.
These places are difficult because they have to move simultaneously as the blaze comes out, and then we have these frontals. Now the frontals not that hard anymore to dodge, I guess, because the blazes are over at that point. But the blazes themselves can be a little bit difficult, as we do get some more spread mechanics here, dropping the puddles.
So far, so good, though.
Yeah, looking pretty good. They do have to make the push soon, because otherwise, of course, they're going to be burning down these roots, which means they'll wipe. But there we go. They did manage to do the push with everyone alive.
Here
Very
we go.
good sign. Let's see if they can do the mechanics properly here with the soaks. The assignments coming in, everyone's spreading around the room depending on what their weak aura is telling them to do. And now they need to make sure none of these balls are hitting the boss, otherwise it's going to be a huge explosion. And they also need to make sure they're not soaking too many balls themselves.
Oh.
Just stagger it a little bit, because it
man,
does so
scary.
much damage if you soak multiple. And then you also have the blazes coming out right here, just so much damage coming in. The damage is looking pretty good.
Gingy, unfortunately,
but we lose
going
2
down.
players. Yeah.
Looks like we're still going to make the damage check, though, as we're going to be entering the intermission, phase 2, excuse me. 2 players dead. In theory, the point in which we wiped didn't require any damage. Oh, Mirrors, no!
Oh,
There's not a boss down there.
Well,
We can see what we can do with only Andy with us right now. Andy on his paladin, hopefully being able to protect us and bring us further into this phase. Main thing we're going to really be focusing on is these ads. We need to be keeping them alive. Perhaps if we pop over to a healer point of view, perhaps Velo maybe. Yep, you can see them spot healing these ads as much as we possibly can, and we want to make sure we do not hit them with any of these blaze lines. It's certainly what caused us a wipe before, but you still need to make sure that you're keeping an eye on the entire group. It looks like those set of ads are in a good enough position that they will be keeping the heart of Amirdrassil in a healthy spot, although not by a lot as it's continuing to tick down. You see the healer's so far away from the raid taking an exceptional amount of damage, but at least we're going to see this first deep breath and the first wave of ads flooding across the room here. And just the amount of raid damage that happens when everything is out of control. This looks rough, but we're happy that we got this far. Yeah,
that was a very good pull. Unfortunately, their mirrors falling off. Now, it looks funny, but the thing is, like, this is like the transition to phase 2. There's actually a really big pushback into like a pull, and for a DK, if you don't have an ability available to negate that push or that pull, then it's actually very hard for him to stay up, because he doesn't, of course, DK is not a class known to have many movement abilities like that. So there's something they have to think about. Maybe save a rescue, save a grip, or Mirrors has to assign his cooldowns differently, so he does have something available, Wraithwalker, whatever it is that DKs have against this, because of course losing a tank on a pullback here is not great.
No.
But I'm sure this is the first time it happened, and probably the last as well.
We can hope so.
Mirrors would not make a mistake like this twice.
It's very, very unlikely indeed. But one thing that has happened that we're very happy about So we have reached our Balls of Destiny goal.
Yes.
So I'm going to move these cups out of the way. And I don't know if you would like to do the honors here. Because as I say, I'm not to be trusted.
I think it would be funny if you do it.
Why would you do this? Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Apparently, you got to hold this bit in. Oh, screw it, it'll be fine. Which way?
Do the other way for a little bit.
This way first,
just to mix it, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to mix it like this.
Yeah.
I'm doing it, chap. I can be trusted. Okay, and then we're going to go back on ourselves. Yeah. Let's see what we get here. Oh, and it went on the floor. We have got B12. An important vitamin,
yes.
B12, which is being told by production relatively soon. Drum roll, please. Say again.
Oh.
A Jade Bright Forcia mount.
Another mount.
Lovely
I'm impressed.
stuff. So we will have a command for you guys to use in the chat. Please, I'm begging you, when you use it, only type it once, because you will just get banned, most likely, if you spam it too many times.
You do have a higher chance if you do it multiple times.
No, don't say that. That is a lie, and you will get banned. You'll make everyone else's chance higher if you do it multiple times, because you will be disqualified.
And you have to guess the word?
No, the word will come up soon.
No, yes.
Production's going to kill you. But yes, big thank you to Blizzard for that. We will be getting you a command that you can type relatively soon, and that went pretty well for me, actually.
Yeah,
I used the machine with minimal disasters.
Very impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that will be coming your way very, very soon. It seems that... Can we pop over to Velo's path? Quickly, we need to see this. He hasn't opened his box yet.
I'll take it now. Sure.
This is why he hasn't opened his box yet. This is actually good. They weren't sure how much. This is a mana trinket he's looting, and you saw at the end of that last poll he was completely due to his responsibility to heal the big ad. In fact, I have some log stuff for you because we've now had 2 pulls in phase 3, and we can kind of see the healing breakdown that they're doing. They're having Velo solo the ancient ad by himself almost exclusively, which is something that a Mistweaver is very good at, but incredibly draining to his mana. So he's going to pick up that 7th Spine, an old trinket that gives you a lot of mana back while he's doing it. They have Thaner, interestingly, doing almost exclusively all the healing on the groups of Kaldorei priests, which is also interesting because that is being done with Beacon of Virtue. Typically, you'd have a Holy Paladin have the regular beacons and maybe even throw that on the Ancient in order to heal that up. But because he's the only other real option to heal those up, he's using Beacon of Virtue and solo topping them as a group. Very interestingly, allowing both priests to focus on the raid. But Velo ended unable to top the second Ancient because he was completely And so he went scurrying back to his vault and picked the mana trinket that he was hoping he wouldn't have to choose until they got to this boss.
I'm just shocked that they still have upgrades, man. When are they going to send it? Oh, man. Here we go. The giveaway. Exclamation mark.
Jade.
Jade
there we
indeed.
Go.
Thank
now
you.
You have the word. Now you can spam it, but only once.
Yeah, spam but once. Also known as post that message once. Type it once. So yes, exclamation mark Jade to get your hands on a wonderful, wonderful mount there. Thank you again to Blizzard for the code. Really do appreciate it. So get those in.